Before we dive in, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Salt River Therapy. If life feels heavy right now, you're not alone, and you don't have to carry it by yourself. Salt River Therapy is a boutique practice offering warm, affirming support for individuals and couples in Brooklyn and virtually across New York and New Jersey. Whether you're dealing with anxiety, grief, identity questions, relationship stress, they're here to help. Visit saltrivertherapy.com and take that first step towards healing. Welcome to the Traveling Black Women podcast, where we are talking to Black women around the world. I'm your host, Nadine, and I am so excited to take you on a journey with fearless Black women exploring the world. Each episode, we uncover hidden gems, share travel hacks, and hear inspiring stories from incredible travelers who look just like you. So whether you're a seasoned globetrotter or planning your very first adventure, we've got something special for you. So stay tuned and let's dive into today's episode. Hello, and welcome back to the Traveling Black Women podcast. Y'all, I have two of my favorite people with me today. They have traveled all over the world with me, and I am just ecstatic to have them here. Of course, they're my cousins, so, that in itself is like, yay, my cousins are on my podcast with me. So I'm so happy to have them here. I have Dr. Jade Duncan, and I have Miss Simone Duncan.
Hey.
And today, hey girl.
My name is Simone Duncan, and I am a proud member of the Generation X community. I'm 47 years old. I hail from the Twin Island nation of Trinidad and Tobago. In my everyday 9 to 5 life, or 8 to 4, I am a school psychologist and I work in urban education at the high school level. I really, really enjoy my job. And then when I come home from school, I am an entrepreneur. I have a beauty consultant business and I assist women with their sister locks.
Oh.
Yes.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Jade. I am many things, but a dentist that pays the bills. But outside of that, I am a big geek. I love learning. I'm addicted to school, and I just consistently go after everything that I want to know. And on an entrepreneurial level, I do quite a few things right now, focus on coaching, life coaching, career coaching, executive coaching. I also do a little bit of retail. I like little cute things, but actively right now focused on coaching, consulting, helping people create curriculums, courses, training programs, things like that. And just find whatever interests me at that time. So you'll notice that it changes quite a bit, but that's me. That's all. Dr. Jade. I'm happy to be here.
Today we're just going to chat about, work-life balance. Like the three of us are nerds, y'all. Like we do it all. We have businesses, but we also have jobs, and we still love life. Like we still go out there and like live life to the fullest. So I invited them here because I really wanted us to be able to just talk about it, share it with you all, and hopefully inspire y'all to like be amazing professionally and personally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into this. The first thing I want to ask y'all is about your work ethic. Your work ethic. I know the three of us have pretty strong, like a pretty strong work ethic, So tell me, like, how has that shaped your life? How do you feel like that has defined you?
Should I
Either
go
way,
first?
you can jump in.
Okay, so I think before I talk about how my work ethic has shaped my adult life, I have to kind of start with what has shaped my work ethic, right?
Mm.
So I had the opportunity to observe my parents. My mom is African American from Brooklyn, New York, grew up in Brooklyn in the 50s and 60s. But had me and raised my siblings in Trinidad. My dad is Trinity to the core, work every day, rest. What is rest? So I have had an opportunity to observe both ends of the spectrum. I saw how my mom in my parents' later years, my mom is now almost 80, my dad is 76, they're still working as pastors every single day, even Sundays, so they have no
Wow.
breaks. But I saw how my mom would talk to my dad's secretary and say, okay, our family is going on a trip this week, this week, this week, this week. Block off his calendar. Don't put anything on it. So she was the one who encouraged us to rest, to vacation. Um,
Mm.
so I wouldn't say I had to unlearn anything per se. I just knew I had to strike a balance between dad and mom.
Mm.
And that has shaped my life because I really downtime like makes me uncomfortable. And I know that's something that I'm dealing with casually, right? If I have nothing to do, I have to fill this space with something, which is
Mm.
why I like vacations because then I get to just relax and don't do anything.
Yes.
So if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense.
I think for me it's similar. We have quite a similar upbringing, but I would say that my work ethic has shifted. I work smarter and not harder. I think I was
Mm-hmm.
an extremely ambitious person for a very long time. I was a workaholic. And that probably was a trauma response. I found that I was more valuable when I was busy, when I was working, when I was achieving things, when I was getting accolades, and that was important to me. So I just work consistently, thinking that that meant something. Until
Yeah.
one day I realized
Mm,
that it means nothing. Nobody cares,
yeah.
right? I think that was the biggest lesson for me. Life lesson is nobody cares, right?
Mm.
And the minute I realized that nobody cares, I stopped caring, right?
Yeah.
And I realized that the excellence that I show in everything I do is natural to me. It doesn't take
Mm.
any effort for me to be excellent. So to be honest, my work ethic is just showing up because
Mm.
I am excellent. So anything I do is excellent. It doesn't take an
Love
effort to
that.
do that.
Yeah.
So I clock in, be excellent, I clock out, and I live my real life. I don't bring work home, So I think my
Yeah.
work ethic right now is just doing my job. I'm not doing
Mm.
extra. I don't see my identity in what I do. So, and to be honest, I don't care as much
Yeah.
as I should, but I don't care. So, I do my job. I do my job well,
Well,
and that's it.
exactly.
That's
Hmm.
it. Yep.
Hmm. Hmm.
Wow. I love both of those answers. Like, come on, y'all. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, because when you think about all the things that you do and the ways that we look for external validation, I'm just trying to like figure out like, okay, am I doing this right? And are people proud of me? And who am I making proud? My parents, my family, my friends, like you're doing all these things and then you look up and just like you said, nobody really cares. They might hit a like on Facebook. Oh, good job. A little clap or two on what is it, on WhatsApp or whatnot. But they go on with their lives, you go on with yours, So you have to ask yourself those questions. Why am I doing this? And I love that,
Yes.
you had that moment of just being like, this doesn't matter. So now I can go figure out what matters to me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like a generational shift too, right? Because we all have the same granddad, and one of our granddad's favorite lines was, "The reward for good work is more
It's more
work,"
work.
right? And we're just not there
Yeah.
anymore. That
Right.
was for them, and this
Right.
is for now. So there you
Yeah.
go.
It's a
You
no for
know,
me.
it's so funny how like the generation before us is like work.
To
I
this
think about
day.
to this
To this day.
day, to this
Till
day,
this
Retired.
day.
Retired, but working.
retired.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Retired. Retired.
right.
There you
Oh my
go.
gosh.
Yeah.
Cause like my mom just retired. I'm so proud of her for just sitting down. But as long as I've seen her as a kid to an adult, she has worked every day. And it was like, just like you said, it was that concept of the reward for work is more work because she would work overtime. And, it was just, she was always working. But the thing
Hmm.
about it is that I learned from her, similar to you, Simone, is breaking, like taking that break. One
Yes.
thing I never saw her do is bring work home. I never saw her bring like emails home, her phone home, things like that. Even when we traveled over Christmas before she retired, I never saw her being like, oh, they're going through XYZ at work. She'll be like, oh, somebody just called my personal phone. I don't know why. And then,
There it
right, and keep it moving. She didn't answer it. She would look at it like, wonder what they
is.
want.
Okay.
We get on with whatever we have to do for the day. So it's so interesting to see how we like got that from our parents. And
Hmm.
despite how hard they work, like we saw that little glimmer of, no, you can take a break. You could relax.
Yes, it's
Yeah, and I
okay.
think that's something that I had to unlearn, and it was by force, right? I didn't unlearn it because, I had such a great spiritual breakthrough. No, I had to unlearn it because I realized that I was being sucked dry, right? Like I
Mm.
was being used, abused, overworked,
Yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
the reward for work well done is more
Is
work.
more work.
When they see
Yeah.
that you are a work donkey, a work horse, they're going to put more
Okay.
work on you, and then you
Okay.
consistently deliver great outcomes and
Yes.
excellent product. They're going to say, oh, wow, give more to Dr. Duncan. And
Yep.
then they will
Yeah.
continue to do that. And then you're like, yeah, yeah, they chose me. They chose me. Yeah, dummy, they
Mm-hmm.
did. And they're all at home. And
Mm-hmm.
your dumb self working on a Saturday looking stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then posting on
And
IG.
being
Yes.
exhausted mentally,
Yes.
No
physically, just
extra pay,
spiritually exhausted.
just looking stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
But you
no,
know what?
not
That's
doing it.
exactly why I quit teaching. That's exactly
Mm.
why I quit teaching. Because I mean, it was like, I know I can do this well, and I do it well,
Yes.
and I'm always fixing, and I'm connecting with my students a little bit more, and I'm like, hey, y'all should do it like this because the kids don't get it like, and I'm doing all the things, and they're like, oh, okay, Dr. Duncan got it.
Yeah,
Just like you
yeah.
know what I'm saying? It was like,
Yeah.
and before you know it, you're right. Sunday night, I'm doing lesson plans and a little extra this and then this
For other
on my
people.
presentation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Sleep,
yeah,
or they're leaving early. Oh, can you cover this class today because I gotta run. I got this, I got that. And it's just like, and you find yourself saying yes because you're like, oh, okay, cool, no problem. But then you realize, wait a minute, y'all are
Mm-hmm.
asking me this because y'all know I would do it. So you know what? I gotta start scaling back. Gotta start
correct.
scaling back.
And it's an abuse tactic on the workplace that people do, and they do that so that they don't have to do as much, and that's
Yeah.
called weaponized
Mm-hmm.
incompetence,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like
Yes.
they act
Ooh,
stupid, they act
weaponizing
dumb, and it
incompetence. I
makes
love that.
you feel like you are the king, you the boss. Oh my god!
Yeah.
So you're like, yeah, I know how to do it. Let me do it. Let me do it. So you feeling
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, 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 I got the skills.
Mm-mm-mm.
Let me do this. Let me put my pizzazz on this. And they're just sitting back like, yeah, dummy, you do my
Right.
job, while they're
Mm-hmm.
sitting down
Right.
kikiing.
Right.
And
Listen.
when you realize and you burst that bubble for yourself and you look at yourself, you look like a clown, right? Just looking stupid, right? And
Right.
you're like, I'm not doing that no more.
And they
No
in the
more.
hallway kikiing with the other teachers and you in the back.
And they're
Okay.
clocking out exactly
Okay.
at 5 o'clock. And you
Okay.
at work.
With good evaluations. Okay. For
Right.
doing nothing. I like
Right.
that. I like that weaponizing incompetence, Jade. I'm going to use that tomorrow. Trust me. That's going
You
to be
know
my new
what?
phrase.
Yep.
We're not
Yep.
weaponizing
Recognized
incompetence over here.
incompetence.
Oh, well.
They're using it, and it's really we don't even realize. And it's
Yeah.
the same type of thing, because when the thing is, when you do too much, they have more things to pull down. They
Right.
have more things to
Right.
analyze, right? And then the second you step back and start to figure out your work-life balance, it makes you look incompetent now,
Yeah.
because it makes you look like you don't know how to do much, or you're lazy now because you're no
Mm-hmm.
longer
Mm-hmm.
doing as much as you were doing, because they're used to you doing what you are doing.
The
So
Yep.
most.
then they start comparing you not to your peers, because if they did that, they will see that you were still excellent, but they
Mm-hmm.
compare you to yourself. And that's the worst type of evaluation, because that's when the evaluation starts sucking. When they're like, oh, Dr. Duncan, you were such a team player before. Right now, you're living
Mm-hmm.
the land of no. You no longer want to participate. You no longer want to be a part of the team. Right now, everybody's really, really stressed out. And you're like, you used to be so helpful. You used to come in smiling every day. You used to bring cookies. You don't bring cookies anymore. You're the worst. You're the worst. You're horrible. You suck. Right? And then
Yeah.
all you did was punch out at 5 o'clock.
Scale
That's it.
Right.
back
That's
a
it.
little.
That's
Right.
it. You
Mm-hmm.
punch out at the
Mm-hmm.
time you're supposed to, and all of a sudden you are the worst person in the world. And
Yo,
I
that is
think
so deep.
it's not just about us as workaholics from the culture we came from, but
Mm-hmm.
we're Black women,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
we know that we are culturally in corporate or in any sort of work setting the savior, the
Right.
fixer,
Yeah.
Right.
right? We shine things up. We are the ones with the Midas touch. So every time a Black woman enters the scene, things are going to get better. But then what happens is they rely on you to fix it all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
then you get tired, right? And then if something does go wrong that has nothing to do with you, you still get the blame
God
because you should have
forbid.
fixed it,
Right.
right? And I
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
think that is
Mm-mm-mm.
the part of my work ethic that I let go of and that I
Yeah.
divorced myself from. So
Yeah.
I use the term, I have divorced myself from ambition, right?
Mm.
So I no
That's
longer
deep.
set those type of goals for myself. So the goals for myself that I set is, in 5 years time, not I want to be the dean. I still do. I want to be the university president. I still do. But in 5 years, I would like to feel peace.
Mm.
In 5 years, I would like to make sure that I'm living in a particular type of house, a particular type of lifestyle, where I'm
Mhm.
able to afford the trips without having to nickel and dime and spread it out or worry about PTO, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think of that, and then whatever door opens that can get me that is
Mhm.
an option for me. So I'm no longer
Mm.
putting limits on my achievements, which is why I could achieve as much as I can because I don't have
Right.
any limit.
I
I
love
just
that.
said, that sounds nice. All right, I'll do it. And then in 2 years, I'm like, don't like this. I'm going to do something else,
Right.
Yeah.
There
I
you
I
love
go.
guess,
that.
yeah. Well, the underlying question is, can it help me afford my life? And my life right now is trips. So I
Yeah,
want
and
to
that's
do
it.
trips. Can it
Yeah,
help me afford the trips? Okay, yes, fine, I'll do it.
there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I
Right.
love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
y'all are kind
cool.
of preaching today. I see y'all. No, but
ah,
I mean, you've made a lot of sense and have a whole lot of gems that you just dropped right there, because I think that it's so important for us to recognize that when you're in that space of feeling like you are some kind of prized possession because you can do so
Mm,
much and you're capable of so much, it gives people permission to sit back. And
right.
even though for a moment in time you feel good about the fact that you are so capable and so needed, the reality is that is tiring and exhausting. I heard you say that
It
earlier,
is.
Simone. It's exhausting.
It
And the
is.
other thing that I really like that you pointed out that I have to repeat is the fact that when that happens, you're right. They do not compare you to anybody else who's been slacking the whole time. They compare you
No.
to yourself and make
yep.
you feel bad. Like, wait a minute, you compare me to me, not old girl down the hall who did not do her lesson plans last week.
Yep.
Like,
Absolutely.
you're
Yep.
talking about me and how good I
Yep.
was last week, but
Yep.
nobody stopped to think, well, you know what? Maybe she's tired. Maybe she's
Mm-hmm.
exhausted. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
she wants some time for herself
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
not
Mm-hmm.
just, doing what y'all need her to do.
I think that's where the work-life balance comes in too, right? Because when
Hmm.
you start to feel like that, for me, I need trips. Like I need trips, right? Like people are like, oh, trips are a luxury. No, no, no. Trips are a necessity for me.
Yes. Yes.
Like I'm fortunate enough to work in an industry where I have 2 months off every year, right? Two
Hmm.
months, I don't have to do anything. I can plan whatever I want. And the first thing I want to do is jump on a plane and go somewhere. It helps me decompress. It helps me de-stress. It helps me reconnect. It helps me refresh,
Yeah.
right? So it to me, that's needed. And to me, that's part of the life balance. Like sometimes we have long holidays, school holidays, or like spring breaks or fall breaks. Like even if I jump on a car and drive to Ohio, or take a train and go to California, or take an RV and drive cross country. Like I haven't done a lot of United States exploring.
Hmm.
All of my trips have been out of the country, but even to take small trips like that, like home trips, I think will help with work-life balance for me anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that was a big thing for me too, particularly when I came back from living in Abu Dhabi. I think
Mhm.
that was my transformation point, or my transition point, because living out there, like they they're clocking out. Like it's Thursday. Well, their week is Sunday to Thursday. It's Thursday and they're done and they're looking at you like, why are you still here?
What you doing?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And not only are they done at 3, but they had tea for half the day. Like, I'm passing the class. You sitting down having tea again. You got kids in your room. But see,
Chilling.
right, chilling. But before I left, it was, you make sure you're standing up and don't sit behind. It was always something. Somebody's coming to do a walkthrough, and there was always something to kind of like stir you up to like this way of being where you don't feel like you can have the balance because it just doesn't seem possible. But then when I
Right.
moved over there, I'm like, y'all chilling. And these
Yeah.
kids still doing what kids do. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And when I saw that and came back, that's when I was like, all right, when it's a 3-day weekend, I am going somewhere. Like that has to be my
Absolutely.
balance. When there is like, an extra, I don't know, just time to do something, a deal that comes up, I'm taking the day off. Those kids will be all right. But I wouldn't do it before. I would not do it before at all. But after I saw how they approached it, I was just like, well, you know what? Why am I not balancing it out? Like,
Yeah.
why not?
I think for me, the transformation was you guys had a big part in that, right? And then being in healthcare, there's no days off, right? Like there's no
Mhm.
holidays. The
Yeah.
hospital is open on Christmas. Okay, like there's no holiday, there's no like built-in anything, and the PTO is like 2 weeks for the year, like, and you have to earn that and accrue it over time, right? So you can't just take the week in January. You have to earn the week before you can take it, right? So there's no time, right? So you really don't really have the opportunity for the balance because, for example, at that point in time when I was a workaholic, if I took a week off, that means that the patients that I'm canceling that week have to wait an additional year before I can take them to the operating room again. Right? So the guilt I would feel for somebody who's in pain having to wait a whole year to get back on my schedule because I'm burnt out and I need a break, I couldn't deal with that.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? So it was just like it didn't create a space for me to be able to even create work-life balance. That was not a thing. And then so I left that job, took another one, but then the stress of the job itself had nothing to do with the actual work. It had to do with the people because at that time I was living in a state that had a 4-day work week, right? We worked Monday to Thursday. Nobody worked Friday, right? You work 4/10.
It just didn't come.
There's a 4-day work week. And if you work Friday, it means you didn't work Monday or you don't work Wednesday. You only work 4 days a week, right? So we had 3-day weekends all the time, right? And I still would be like coming in on Friday, making sure I'm doing lectures with the residents and doing all of this extra stuff because, I was like, well, I'm here, there's nobody here, whatever. And then when I realized that I went from office pet to office threat, very quickly, right? Because I was a superstar doing all of the stuff and everybody loved me. Oh my God, the Black girl is awesome. She's so nice, And then they realized, okay, she is trying to show us up. She is doing too much and she's, and then when that happened, and then I started to get the microaggressions and the macroaggressions and the downright racism that started to really, really play, take a toll on me. And then all of a sudden the complaints came in, the accusations came in. And that was right before the trip to Guatemala, right? And the day before I left, that's when they gave me a 5-page notice of complaints against me, knowing that I was going on vacation, right? And it just was just so many crazy things that they said because everybody had an issue with me, right? Everybody, even a girl that called me colored had an issue with me, right?
What?
Mind you, they're like, oh, she doesn't know, she's like used to seeing Black people, that was the response, right? So yeah, and I had really made it a point that because obviously me being there made more Black people apply to that program and to that job, right? So now I had a responsibility for their psychological safety, right? So I couldn't just take the whipping and just, act whatever because I had a point to prove. No, I had to make sure that I stood up because you could get to me, but you're not going to get to them because they left a good job coming here thinking that they're coming to work for me. You know what I mean? And they don't feel safe, right? So when I got in that car, we were driving a 4-hour drive from Guatemala City to Lake Atitlan, and I was in that car crying and y'all and telling y'all what was going on. And y'all was like talking to me and speaking life to me and all of this stuff. And then we pulled up to Lake Atitlan. We woke up the next morning and I saw that view. Immediately, no.
Life changing,
Immediately,
okay?
no.
Life
No more tears.
changing.
Immediately, no. Let me tell you, the day I came back, I gave them an 8-month notice of my resignation. Okay.
Love that. I love that. I remember that now. Yes.
I didn't even wait for the academic year to get closer to closing. I said, I'm letting you know right now that when these kids graduate, I will cross the stage with them.
Love
On
it.
graduation day,
Love it.
I will go with them. And that's literally what I did. Graduation day. All right, guys, it was lovely. Okay, y'all gonna clean up because I don't work here no more.
Okay.
Like it was peace, love, and happiness. And from that moment, that's when I was like, I'm going to be intentional, right?
Yeah.
And of course, therapy helped a lot. And in that moment, I had so much PTO built up. So it was the work that I got, the growth work that I got was to take a vacation every month until you leave. Right?
Wow.
So every month for that 8 months, I went somewhere.
Nice.
Right?
Nice.
I took a trip. right? I took time
Nice.
out, right?
Yes.
And then I quit, right? And then I didn't work for a year. And that year, so we went to Dubai. I
Yes.
went to
Mm-hmm.
Hawaii.
Yes.
I went
Did we go to
home to
Barbados that
Trinidad.
year?
We went to
Barbados,
Barbados. I mean,
Bahamas. We
we
went to the
went to
Bahamas.
5 countries,
Yeah.
I think, and at that point in time, I never took a vacation. Guatemala was my first big girl vacation.
Really? I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know it was the
I
first
worked,
one.
Yes.
I worked my whole life. Do you
Oh my
understand? That was my
gosh.
first big girl vacation. I didn't even want to go because I was so scared. I was so nervous. I was so anxious. And
Mm-hmm.
Simon was like, girl,
No,
if
we
you don't
going.
buy this ticket
Okay,
and
we
shut your
going.
mouth,
Let's
because the
go.
other first trip would have been Bali, but then my passport didn't come back in time, right?
Yeah.
So exactly. So my passport came when you already landed in China. And I was like, you know what? Forget it. Forget it. It literally came in the mail and y'all sending pictures of y'all in that restaurant or whatever. So literally, I was like, forget it. Because it would have been my first trip and I didn't feel comfortable catching up with y'all. Now,
Yeah.
please, I'm like, I'm going to see y'all tomorrow.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
okay. I'm gonna
Take
meet
the
you.
picture
Yeah,
I'm gonna meet you in
together.
Singapore.
yeah.
Yeah.
So from that moment on, and I'll admit it, and hopefully nobody from work is watching, but the
Oh
majority
well.
of the trips that I take with you guys and everywhere y'all see me taking pictures,
Hmm.
it's unpaid time off. I'm not
Mm.
getting compensated for that time.
Yeah. Take it
And
anyway.
and I
Yeah.
look at it like this: you can't rob God,
Yeah.
and my true
Yes.
Yeah.
source is Him.
Yeah.
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 So if I am meant to have it, it will never pass me.
That's
So
That's
if
right.
true
you think that your
liberation.
money is going to
Yes.
control
True
me, and because
liberation.
if I don't show up, I don't get paid, keep it.
Yeah.
Keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My bills will always be paid because when I didn't work for a year, I had no income. And I
Mm.
kept my house. I never lost my home. My
Yeah.
mortgage was paid every month. How? I don't know. I'm a hustler, right? I'm a
I'm a
hustler.
hustler.
But
I'm a
the
hustler,
money,
baby.
it was paid. The one thing about Dr. Jade Duncan, she gonna never be broke.
Right.
I know
I
that's
feel
It's just
that.
never
right.
gonna
I
happen.
know
High
She
that's
will
five. I
never
right.
know
be
that's
broke.
right. I know
So if
that's
you
right.
think that your job and the money that you pay me in your direct deposit for my salary could control me, no ma'am, no sir.
I love
I'm
that.
never gonna be broke. So yeah, paid time off,
I
no
love
paid
that.
time off, don't matter. We're going. I'm just letting you know I'm going. Oh, but you don't have
Yeah.
any PTO. I know I don't have any PTO, but I'm just letting you know I won't be here. Right?
That.
I'm not gonna be here.
I love
So
that.
I don't know what you're gonna do. I'm not gonna be here.
I
Okay.
love that.
So I'll see you
Rest
when
is
I get back.
essential, child.
All right,
Please.
that's that.
People know how powerful that is because even like my last year teaching at the high school, I took off some days to go to Dominican Republic with my mom, and I didn't realize that the school year had went into June because usually by Memorial Day we're done. We'll have a
Done.
couple, yeah. Well, I'm in Georgia, so we'll have a
Mm-hmm.
couple days after Memorial Day, and then with the teachers or whatnot, and then we're done. So we ended up that year going into June. For what reason, I don't know. My mother's birthday is June 4th. She wanted to go to Dominican Republic. So I went ahead, booked my ticket, did all the things. Then I look at the calendar and I'm like, wait a minute. We here till June what?
Why?
What? So I have to now take days off. But now, in teaching, they're called what are they called?
Professional. Oh, blackout. Okay.
Blackout days. I think it's
Blackout
blackout
days.
dates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
it's basically the dates that you can't take off because you won't be paid. My principal came in, sweet as she can be, and sat at one of my students' desks and was like, hey, I noticed that you put in for some days. Those are blackout days. And I was like, yeah, I didn't realize we were going into June this year. Like, I'm used to being done, but I realized the calendar has us going into June and it's my mom's birthday. And she's like, okay. And she's looking at me and I'm looking at her. And I was like, well, I don't mind not being paid for those days, but I already bought on my ticket. Now, mind you, I still got paid for those days, but
Good. Good.
I did. And I
Good.
don't even really know how. But the thing about it, it was like, I'm looking at you, looking at me, and I'm just like, don't think I'm about
Okay.
to be here. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
There's
and
no
she wasn't
power
mean
in
about
that.
it. She was
Yeah.
kind about it, but at the same time, I'm just like, hey, I'm still going. So thank you for coming in to let me know.
Yeah.
But whatever y'all need to do, you're gonna have to go ahead and do it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And that's
So
okay.
it
I think
is.
some people, they're so like, and I know this could be coming from a place of privilege, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where people assume, I have the duck in front of my name and, oh, you're making so much money and so you could
Yeah.
afford to do that. And I think the truth is, no, I could not have afforded to do that. Simone knows how much times I lived on her
Mm-hmm.
couch because
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't afford a
Hey.
home. and I was a doctor, right? It's hard out here, and with these student loans and all the stuff that we got going on, and if I have, and that's one of the things that I've learned in my unlearning in my adult life is to never carry shame. I don't carry shame, meaning if I'm ever in a place in my life where I need help, best believe I'm gonna ask for it.
Yeah.
I am not gonna struggle in silence because you need to see me look like I'm a winner. I'm a winner regardless.
I love that.
Right?
And
but I'm a winner with no money in my account. So why am I pretending for
Fretting
you
like you do,
when my cousin have an extra bedroom? Okay, I'm gonna live there. Okay. Guess what? I am coming. You don't even need to be home. I'll be there living in your extra
Right.
bedroom. What are you talking about? Right? Like, why must I be broke? What's wrong with y'all? I'm not suffering for nobody. For pride? For who? Who's gonna be impressed with me struggling? No.
Right.
Yeah.
I humble myself. I don't take shame with whatever points in my life, and that's because I take risks, right? And I got one point in my life where I left that job and I was like, bump y'all, I'm leaving, whatever. I said, you know what? I'm going to invest the energy and my time in a Dr. Jade brand, right? And I'm going to be going. So I got contracts with these different dental schools and I was doing all this training and all that stuff. And then I was like, oh, this is a lot of work, right? Like people actually want to hire me. And I was like, that means I got to work more like this. And then like when I opened up my store, people were buying stuff like every day. Oh, I gotta go to the
I gotta restock. I gotta send this.
Right. And then I had a brick and mortar store too, right? Like people would come into the store. Girl, I'm home. What you doing there? Oh yeah, we're not closed. I'm just not there, so we're not open. Hey, you can come back tomorrow. Like meet me at 5. Like, what are you doing?
Rest.
Oh, you ordered something? I'm in Bali. I'm in Dubai. I can't deliver it till I'll be back home in 13 days. Like, so then I realized that I'm an entrepreneur, but not really. Like it's not that. Okay, I care, but not enough, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, so because of that, I know that if I really need it, I can get it, right? And then when I don't need it, I don't have to worry as much to hustle.
Yeah.
Or I can kind of, so it kind of created a freedom for me where I'm like, I know I'm not going to be broke because when I need to do it, I can get help or I can just figure it out, right? And I could just get intense in my business again, right? But I'm not trying to be like sustained in this type of whatever because I do believe that money is like oxygen, right? Like I don't have to worry about the oxygen in the breath. I just go. So if money knows that I need it, it finds me. I don't know how.
Yes, it comes
but
to you.
because I believe that when the bill needs to get paid, all of a sudden somebody put in an order, somebody I don't know.
I love that.
It just gets paid. And I never have to worry about those things. So I just want to make it clear that it's not from a place of privilege because I have all of this money. It's just that when I need it, it comes.
Yeah.
Because I believe, and you do have to be kind too, right? Because you get repaid by what you put out.
Oh, it's the seeds that you sow. Absolutely.
It is absolutely true.
Oh, man. Oh, that's so powerful. Like to not have that scarcity mindset is just that in itself is really like the thing that really kind of shifts, I think, everything that we do and how we move about life. If you're moving about life constantly with this idea that, you don't have enough or there's not enough or there, or whatever it is, then there never will be. You know what I mean? But to have that type of mindset, that's inspiration.
Yeah. And for those women who may be watching who think that oh man, we equal opportunity. But anyways, who think that they may not be teachers, they may not have the block of time or whatever, and they worry, well, how am I going to have work-life balance? I have kids, I have this, and I need to pay my bills or whatever. And I'll tell you the truth, I don't believe there's such a thing as work-life balance, right? I believe in prioritization. I believe in choices. I believe that you may have balls in your hand, and in order to do something, you have to put something down.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got to put it down. You got to let it go. You got to put it down. Some things at some points in your life are going to get neglected. And you have to learn to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Because when you think you have work-life balance and you take a vacation and you get back to work, the work you missed for the 2 weeks is waiting for you.
Yeah.
Right? It didn't disappear.
Yeah.
So now you still have to do the same work and you still have to catch up.
Yeah.
So it's not balanced because you're stressed again, right?
Yeah.
You're immediately stressed, right? So there's no balance. It is just dropping it and then picking it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
Good.
I was gonna say, Jade, you really have a good point too, because even if you choose, whether you choose, because I'm the type of person who will double up, triple up my meetings in the months before the vacation, right? So even if you choose to do it before instead of after, you're still stressed because you're
Yep.
working 3 times as hard as all of your teammates to
Yeah.
make sure that your stuff is done so that when you go, you have a clear mind. And when you come back, you can deal with the stuff that's coming after, right? So it's the same way. Whether you push it forward or push it behind, it's the same stress.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's so
just
true.
accept it. So
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
make better choices. That's it. Choose you at all times
Absolutely.
because you're gonna be
Yeah.
stressed. Period. That's just it, right?
That's
Yeah.
true. That's
Yeah.
true. You're gonna be stressed if you took the break or not. That's a really great point. I think I'm
Mm-hmm.
more like Simone, where I do a lot of stuff on the front end, and then a
Mm-hmm.
lot of stuff I'm like, okay, I might piece together a little bit of things here and there if I'm doing like a little work from home but traveling type of thing. But then when I get back, I'm like, all right, well, I've done so much already that I can just kind of pick it up and keep it moving.
You should try
So
that. I
yeah.
don't because if I know that I have a vacation, I'm already in vacation mode for like, 2 months ahead of
Yeah.
time. So I'm just like, yeah, what you said? Because I'm about to go to
I'm
I'm about to
thinking about the
go.
rolling seas.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about
Rapid
because in 2 months
waves.
I'm not gonna be here. Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then the type of work that I do, it doesn't really matter
Okay.
doing things ahead of time because it's such a dynamic type of atmosphere that there'll always be something that I need to like. For example, when I
Do.
came back from our last trip to Tanzania, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I came back, the day I came back, I clocked in. I clocked in for 9 o'clock because who's going to work before that? Only Simone. But I clock in
School
and
system hours.
all of a sudden I find out that the state inspector is at one of my locations, right? And I'm like, okay. And I get this alert and I'm like, I haven't even turned my computer on and my phone is going
Mm.
off and everybody's freaking out. So I don't even know the backstory. I don't know what occurred while I wasn't there. I don't know what's going on. And then I am like rushing to that site to try to be the leader. And I am learning as I go, as I get questions from the person. I'm like, oh, this happened? Okay. Okay. Well, our policy states blah, 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 blah. And in my head, I'm like, I have to save the day and I don't even know what happened. Right.
Wow.
And that is the type of environment that I go back into. And it's very depressing. So it's not, I hope I'm not glamorizing it. It sucks and I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
enjoy it, but it's the reality, right?
Yeah.
Like it waits for you. Right.
Yeah.
And then when you're not there, people, especially for us as Black women, it's
Mhm.
almost offensive
Yeah.
that you taking a break when
How
everybody else
dare
a
you?
workaholic, right?
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
they purposefully create situations that make it seem like you are missing. Not that you're on a break, that you're missing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they talk about you the whole time, and then they create this type of thing like, oh, when she comes back, when she comes back, when she comes back. So when you come back, like, duh,
Yeah.
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 right? All on
Yeah.
you, all at once, and just say we didn't want to
Mm.
bother you.
Yeah. Right.
We wanted to make sure that you enjoyed your time off, but you can't leave again because everybody goes crazy when you're not here. Like that. And
Watch me.
it is. I mean, and the guilt that I feel, and that was one of the reasons
Mm-hmm.
why I was a workaholic. So
Yeah.
I am still working on that and how
Okay.
to really not be angry and not quit on my days back from vacation because that's how I feel. I just want to quit because I'm like, you guys don't appreciate
Like y'all didn't
me.
even try while I was away, did
You
you?
guys don't value
Yeah.
me because when you guys go, I literally cover for you,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I don't even CC you in the emails. You don't have to catch up. I fixed it.
Yeah.
It's done. The work isn't waiting for you to come
Yeah.
back. And then I let people know that if you send me an email, I am not responding to it in its earliest convenience. I did not work here, especially if it was unpaid time off. I did not work here. I was not an employee here during this time. So I am not catching up on these emails. So if there's something important that you need me to do, you send the email on my day when I
Fact.
return.
I
Yeah.
like
Right?
that. I like
So
because
I
it's
just
unpaid
press,
anyway.
I
Right.
press,
Yes.
read all, and then no more alerts. So I don't see any emails. What email? You sent me an email? I don't see one. I don't have any new emails in my inbox. So everything was red. I don't
I love
understand.
it.
Well, what did I miss something? Because I wasn't here. Why are you emailing me? I don't work here. Like, how am I? Like, I don't. to push through, carry the
That's a
one. Like
good point.
I don't see how that don't
You
make sense
are a
to me,
mess.
That's a
right?
good
So
point. Well,
it's true.
let me ask this, Jade. So, do you have sick days? Like, how is your
No sick
job?
days.
No sick days. So Nadine
Mm,
knows, like in education, I don't know how it was in Georgia, Nadine, but in Jersey, where in the district that I work in, you have 12 sick days for the school year and you have 3 personal days, right? If you don't use the 3 personal days, you could do anything with. Nobody can ask you what you did, where you were, or anything. If you don't use them at the end of the year, they carry over to the next year, right?
Ooh.
So I think when people say I'm sick, automatically they think physically sick. You're coughing, you have the flu, you have surgery, you have, whatever.
yeah.
But I think mental health needs to really be considered as
Yes.
a sick day.
Yeah.
Like if I need a mental health day, that's a sick day. And if I need to use 10 mental health days because I'm going through something, that's a sick day.
Yes.
That is a
Yes.
sick day.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think we need to normalize that and,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like, well, see, you know what? I don't even really remember what the days were like. I think it was 10 days.
Okay.
And I think they were all the same. I don't think we had like a
Like
difference
one
between
code.
sick and yeah.
Differentiation. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think
Okay.
we
FMS.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you're absolutely right. And I think it's getting more and more like commonplace now where people can say I'm taking a mental health day or I'm taking a me day.
Yes.
But for
Yes.
a
I
while,
love
you're
that.
right. It was
Yeah.
never a thing for a good while, where it was
Yeah.
like, okay, I just need a break.
Hmm.
Nobody was break.
Break.
Break for
I
what?
know.
Mm-hmm.
You get a break
Go
after
Yeah.
work.
go eat a
Yeah.
snack and come back.
Right.
I know.
Go to the
And then
bathroom and come back. That's your
my
break.
mom calls those days sick of days, right? There's a sick with
Mm,
day where I'm sick with the cold,
Mhm.
and then there are the days where I'm just sick of you and I'm sick of this job. And those are the days that I will give sick days because I'm sick of all of this,
Yes.
yes.
right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and then so like, I love TikTok, and one of the things that they have been like saying, like when we're frustrated and we're overwhelmed and we feel like we're having a nervous breakdown, we as
Mhm.
Black women like to just quit the job. And they're like, don't quit, take FMLA, right? For your
Yeah.
mental health.
Everybody
So
else is doing
now
it.
you got this
Yeah.
whole you
Okay.
got this whole amount of time where you can do the travel, you can do all of this stuff, do all your things, and then don't come back.
Mm.
And in that time, you find a new job, you take your time, you
Mm,
do all that stuff. I mean, I'm
You just
learning
get
all
the
the cheat codes.
space.
I'm
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
ah,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
okay. So now
Mm-hmm.
they can't, if you decide to go back to the job, they can't, they have to hold a position, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
you're on FMLA, right? It is
Mm-hmm.
protective leave, right?
Yeah.
Everybody else knows the secrets and the cheat codes, and we just know how to work hard because that's in our DNA,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
We got to do
Mm-hmm.
better.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah,
We do.
absolutely. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. I
Mm-hmm.
was definitely the person that I quit the job. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, y'all can have it. I'm out. you know?
Yeah, and when I see so many people have been doing that, and I'm like, huh, because now that I'm the boss, I see the requests coming in, and I'm like,
Yeah. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
she leave. Oh, she
The
trying to
secret.
leave.
The
Okay.
secret.
like I did not know this, and then so of course TikTok, it's like I don't know, TikTok is like
It's
it's
a
like the
resource.
new
Yes,
It's a
it
right, it's
is.
like
resource,
the
low
new
key.
the new Socrates, right? It's like
Yeah.
full of enlightenment. You're like, really? It's like the greatest philosopher right now for me. I be sitting there like, yeah. I could do that. Yeah. So I'm not that I'm gonna do that, but I'm just saying
Learning
it
how
might
to,
be,
work through. Yeah,
yeah, work the
absolutely.
system and to make sure that you get the support you need. Because then we quit the job, then you can't pay your bills, you're more stressed, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
you're looking for a
Right.
job and you realize the job market sucks and you're going to be working for 8 months looking for a job, right? We all know it's easier to find a job when you have one. So if you create like a cushion for yourself and you
Yeah.
really truly have the documentation that your mental health is struggling, and that's not very hard because
Mm-hmm.
most of us
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
we
We
got we
just
got
have to
some
acknowledge it.
issues.
Mm-hmm.
We got
Mm-hmm.
a little bit. Some of us a
So,
tinge, some of us some more.
so I want to circle back real quick to you mentioned guilt, the guilt that you felt, just taking off. And I know that I felt guilt with my students, like, okay, if I am taking off, what sub is going to come in? Is the sub going to be okay? Somebody going to end up fighting in my classroom? I taught special education. So even though there
Mm-hmm.
were times where I did not have my own classroom and I was going into another teacher's classroom, a lot of times those teachers depended on me to show up and do, because anything that I would do would actually help all the students and not just the students who were learning disabled, which is why my dissertation is all about, what about these learning disabilities that we try to give people? Is it we trying to do here? So I want to bring the question to Simone, because you're a school psychologist where you don't have like a dedicated classroom.
Yes.
Where do you ever feel guilt when you have to take off?
I feel guilty. I feel guilty in the sense that, the children are the product, right? And like you said, the children that we work with are from the most vulnerable communities, right? So they're needy. They need a lot. So I think that's where my pre-preparation and planning come in. That's why I work so hard on the front end to make sure everything is done so that when I go, I'm not leaving a hole, right?
Yeah.
Yes, my teammates might have to work a little extra. If one of my students comes in with an issue, they might have to deal with it. But in terms of the meetings, the IEP meetings, and the psychological evaluations and the reports that I have to fill out, I kind of make sure that's kind of done.
Yeah.
And then I'm not opposed to taking my laptop. I'm sure you guys have seen me with my laptop. I'm not opposed to taking my laptop on a trip with me if I really have to,
Yeah.
right? But I think pre-pandemic, I struggled with the guilt a little more. We went to Bali. I've always traveled the Caribbean during the summers and during the school year. I think I suffered the guilt more pre-pandemic. After the pandemic, where they got all types of working hours out of me at home, I don't feel that guilt as much anymore. I'm able to kind of put it down and go enjoy myself or go relax and know that after the relaxation period, I'm going to be so much better than I was before.
Yeah.
So it kind of balances out that guilt because you guys are about to get the best of me in the middle of the school year, right? Usually the school year starts in September. We fresh, we good to go. You're getting the best of me, but you're gonna get the best of me in January when everybody else burnt out and tired. I'm ready to go because I had a chance to relax.
Yes.
So that's how I see that.
That makes a lot of sense, because and that's what I thought of when you said that you pre-plan, like, because my vacation mode is, what do I have to do? My vacation mode is always a to-do list. Like, what do I have to do for work, at home? Like, I clean up everything. Like, there's everything about my vacation mode is let me prepare. Vacation mode is let me prepare to go, right? Yes. But I think it comes from teaching as well. Like, okay, let me make sure that when I'm gone, nobody is going to need me that much. And if they do, it's right over there. And, I've got my this and I've got my that. And just ask this. And, everything is like set up. So that way it doesn't feel like I just
abandoned.
Left. Yes. Yeah. So that's what made me come back to that question. Cause I was just like, leaving does feel guilty to some extent, but I think that pre-planning is what kept me from not feeling that guilt anymore. I'm not feeling like, I'm like, okay, y'all got it. I set everything up. Like, I gotta go.
Bye. You want to see ya?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But then I could also see now, as a contractor, I can also see how different that is with coming back. Like, there isn't too much that I can prepare for before I leave. So now I just kind of do a little bit all the time. So I'm kind of always working. So if I'm traveling, I'm going to have my laptop, because if somebody needs me, I can either get to them on my phone, get to them on my tablet, get to them on my laptop. It's a kind of a different setup, and it gives me a little bit less guilt. I think if I was still in the classroom, I would still be struggling with the guilt. But then it kind of goes back to what Jade said earlier. It's like, okay, I already decided in my mind, I never want to have to ask for PTO again. That conversation with my principal that last year that I was teaching, as nice as she was, and as good as everything turned out at the end, I still didn't like the feeling of somebody questioning me to go celebrate my mom. You know what I mean? Like that. I'm like, this is the lady that gave birth to me. I'm not about to be like, oh, I can't make it, mom, because I'm like, just that feeling alone was like
asking permission to live your life.
Yeah. Why am I asking you permission to just go live?
Life too.
Yeah. And not only that, but I've had a pretty perfect attendance, pretty much perfect attendance. Like, when I'm out, it's like, not few and far between. I'm not just taking out every other day. You do have some teachers like, dang, she out again. What's going on? And it's nothing, right?
Nobody
says anything to those teachers, but you take off and it's like, where were you?
But it goes back to what Jade was saying earlier, right? They're comparing you to you, like your perfect attendance record.
That's right.
For being so perfect. You understand? So now when I was going to take away 3 days, everybody else has a problem. I don't think so.
Right.
That's right.
They get used to your perfection. They get used to your excellence. So, so whenever you like drop a little bit, aha,
Yeah. And it's exactly what it feels like. It almost feels like they're waiting for that drop.
Yes,
They're waiting for something to go wrong. Like, she can't be that perfect. Let's see. She took a day off, and my second, no, what year was that? So I was at the high school for, I think, 3 years. One of those years I went to Trinidad Carnival and I had to take a whole week off. And that was like, but it was my second time taking a whole week off from school, because before leaving for Abu Dhabi, I would never take off. So my cousin Rudy, he'd always be like, come to Carnival. And I'm like, no, we work during that time. And you're like, well, don't y'all have President's Day? No, because it's a whole week. I can't. After I came back from Abu Dhabi, sign me up. Which week we going?
Where we going next?
Yeah. So I took a whole week off, and I remember, doing the whole pre-prep and everything, but came back and it was just like, where were you? And I'm thinking, so-and-so don't ever be here. Her classroom always needs a sub and an extra teacher. Y'all don't ask her where she is. Y'all, this has been an amazing, amazing conversation, because I'm just like, a lot of times I sit around and I'm just like, how can I help the world with work-life balance, blah, blah, blah. And the reality is, just like Jade said earlier, you do have to figure out how to prioritize things, right? And there are some certain situations where it is almost impossible to find that balance. But once you start prioritizing, like, what does this mean for me? I have to have a mindset that allows me to keep thinking that things are going to come to me, right? So getting rid of that scarcity mindset is, I feel like, probably one of the most important pieces, because as soon as you get into that mindset of thinking that there's not enough, right? I got to work all this time because, what if they fire me? What if all these what ifs that have a negative end to it, right? So what if, somebody takes my place? What if they don't pay me? What if they don't, all of these things that cause us to shrink and then become these like shells of ourselves, exhausted, guilty. Yeah. Feeling like we can't do anything else in order to maintain a particular job, a particular position, having to be able to think outside of that and be like, what's more important to me is me, right? Being able to prioritize me.
Yeah.
I mean, that in itself is just, it's really, really powerful.
Yeah, it's me season.
Yeah. But it's always me season, right? It's always me season. It should always, and it's not even a selfish thing, right? It's not even a thing where it's just like, it's all about me, forget everybody else. But it's the concept of like, I have to take care of me because nobody else will.
Self-preserving, not selfish.
Yes.
Self-preserving.
Yeah. Self-preserving. Absolutely.
I heard a wise person yesterday gave me this quote. If you don't have time to meditate, it means you need to meditate, right? So people always say they don't have time for vacation, they don't have time to take a break, they don't have time, and then what happens is your body shuts down. I mean, I've seen it with my very own eyes, what 50, 60 years of nonstop work would do to you.
Yeah.
It's not pretty. And it's devastating.
It is.
And there's no price at the end. There's no reward. There's nobody saying, yeah, you did it.
Right.
You work your whole life, and then at the end of your life, when you're ready to live, you can't do it.
Yeah.
You don't have it in you. Your body's broken down. You're full of disease. Your organs shutting down. You're tired. Your knee hurts, so you can't even go on the cruise. You got vertigo now, so the water making you dizzy. You can't go on the plane. You got blood clots in your legs.
Don't bend over the
on the plane, you
banister.
die. You can't drive long places to even go on a staycation. Like you really, really destroy yourself for what?
For somebody else. To build somebody else's company, to build somebody else's business. Yeah.
And I think when people realize, and this is my big revelation, was, what is life about for me? And for me, life is about the experiences. Life is about the people, right? I want to feel freedom. I want to feel peace. And the things, and I had to figure out what it is that makes me feel peace when I see the impact that I have in people's lives. So that does drive my work, right?
Yeah.
And then stand on top of a mountain and looking at the ocean.
Yeah.
So
priceless.
If I can't, I have to get on the top of a mountain. I got to go somewhere, and to see the ocean. Well, I got to travel, right? And those are the things that bring peace into my life. So when I need peace, I got to go somewhere, right? And I think that's important. And I think a lot of people who believe that that's something that is beyond them, or something that is aspirational but not really within grasp. Seriously, it just takes one trip. You take that
break the
one trip,
molds.
like I did to Guatemala,
Yeah.
Yeah.
everything changes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my
Travel
goodness.
is the
Mm-hmm.
answer. If you
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
think that you have nothing in life and you feel stuck, you travel. I
Yeah.
promise
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
You will
See
see
Yeah.
something
yourself
different.
this small when you see how other people live and other cultures
Yes.
survive on
Absolutely.
a portion of what we have.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And you
And they
realize you
living
don't need
good,
that
honey.
much. You don't need that
Yeah.
much to live. That's what you realize. And
Yeah.
any black woman that thinks that traveling is outside of their scope or not within their reach,
Mm-hmm.
buy one less pair of shoes. Our shoes expensive, right? Buy one less bag. Buy, invest and put aside money for a trip. You
Yeah.
don't. Okay, so the trip costs $2,000. Nobody's saying, "Oh, we're going on the trip next week. The money is due now." Plan
Mm-hmm.
trips a year in advance. Put a little bit,
Payment
like mommy
plans.
said,
Yeah.
chirrup, chirrup. Put a little chirrup here, chirrup there, chirrup there. Before you know it, you pay for the whole trip and you're ready to go.
Right. Right.
Prioritize it. Be intentional about putting aside money for that. It's an item on a line item on my budget. Travel.
Yes. Yes.
Every
I
month,
love
put a little
that.
bit of something in the pot so that when somebody says, "Let's go," you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to use your credit card, or you have money and you don't feel bad or guilty or like you can't afford it.
Right.
You know,
Right. I
plan
You
love
for
can
that.
it.
afford not to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love
It's
that.
worth it.
I was gonna ask you like what would your advice be to people who are drowning, but I feel like you just gave it to me right there and then. Because I mean, it does sometimes feel hard, but
yes,
those are the things, making it
yes,
a line item on your budget, making it a specific thing. Like I remember my mom used to have a Christmas club. She had
yes,
yeah, where she would have this like a fund just for Christmas. And that was from when I was young. So that was just Christmas gifts and things like that. But that translated now into us traveling during Christmas. And now that translates to me like, okay, I got to have a little something for everything. It can't just be like, oh, this is I have to make sure I
yes,
organize and be intentional about what am I setting this aside for? Because
yes.
sometimes you can do it all. Sometimes you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to like skip back from the coffees or skip back from certain things. Sometimes you can continue because I do DoorDash every day, y'all. And I know
Okay.
it's bad. I know it's bad. But I am still
Listen,
going to
It's
Madagascar next
convenient.
month.
you
Exactly.
you preaching to
There
the
you
choir,
go.
honey. Like, listen, okay.
But those are things I specifically budget for. Like you probably
Yes.
won't catch me walking around a grocery store unless there's a buy one get one free on a Talenti. Other than that, I'm not going to be in the grocery store. But because I organize my budget that way intentionally, I can do that and that,
Ooh.
just kind of
Mhm. Plan for
prioritization.
it.
Yeah, we
Hmm.
Yeah,
pay for what
yeah.
we value, right? And
That's
that's like
it.
when people ask me for, like all my degrees, like why, I value them, so I pay for
Yeah.
them, right?
Yeah.
Just like your trips. And Simon is right. Like you save $5 every week, and maybe you go to your trip next year,
Yes.
but
Yes.
it's worth it. And you don't have to do an extremely expensive trip.
No.
You can just
Mm-hmm.
go to a location that is easily accessible, no stress,
Hmm.
or you go with a
Hmm.
group, so you don't have to feel
Hmm.
intimidated or anxious like
Or plan
I used to
anything.
think, right?
Yeah.
Or plan anything. You get added to the group chat. All you gotta do, like at this point, oh yeah, I'm coming. How do I send you my money?
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it. And
Absolutely.
then you don't have to worry about nothing. You don't have to create nothing. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to stress yourself about anything. But I promise you, you just have to take one trip.
Yeah.
One trip.
Yes.
Yeah.
See
Yes.
something different, and it's gonna
Yeah.
really change you. And it's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, and even in doing that trip, it's also important to be open during that trip
Oh,
because that I think
we
that
got time.
also because I think that's also what makes the difference because you can go on a trip, but then if
Yes.
you're still closed about the fact that you're there and you're still thinking about you still carrying that guilt, carrying that
And looking
shame,
for oil, looking
Hmm.
for a
right?
burger and
Right.
chicken strips.
Right. You looking for what's already here. You're not open to what you're seeing. You're not open to this different experience, this different way of life. You know, you're not gonna get anything from it. You might need the
Yeah.
second or third time
That's true.
for the light bulb to go on.
That's true.
But it does need to start somewhere. So even if
Yeah.
that first trip you're kind of nutted up, like where is the McDonald's? I can't eat this. Okay, fine. Push yourself to the next one, to the next
Yes.
one, to the next one. So when you realize, oh, they don't have a McDonald's, they don't have a KFC, or maybe they do have a KFC and it's good. We don't know.
Okay. Bye. Shout out to Dubai.
Hello, Dubai,
That chicken was
KFC.
awesome.
The way y'all put that
You bet.
KFC up on that yacht.
I mean, we love Trinidad. Trinidad, we know you're the OG. We appreciate you, Trinidad KFC.
Trinity
We know
KFC,
you.
right?
But Dubai KFC, when that
Dubai.
seasoning down to the bone, and you pull
Yes.
the chicken apart and you see the red dust inside,
Yes. Or the seasoned fries. Oh, seasoned fries. Who would have
my
thought
God,
seasoned fries?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
that chicken.
Hilarious.
I mean, we had buckets of chicken daily.
It's
Daily.
Yes.
It
nice.
was like a handbag. That bucket of
It's
chicken went
nice.
everywhere. We always had a bucket of chicken. We was on that yard with a bucket of chicken. We really were.
We sure were. Oh my God. Okay. So, one last question. What would you tell your younger self now about life? We kind of talked a little bit about, how we progressed, the moments that things shifted, the moments that we realized I need to make sure that I am prioritizing myself as much as I prioritize these people's job, you know? So, what would you then turn around and say, you know what, little Jade, little Simone, this is how I want you to start off your life?
I can go. Two things I would say. The first thing is, Jade, I am not every woman and it's not all in me.
I
It's not.
can't.
It's not. So then I no longer feel the burden of having to prove that it is, because it's not. I don't have it. I don't have it. I don't have it.
Yeah.
It's not here. So I can't
Yeah.
give it because I don't have it. So you
Yeah.
ask me for $1, but I don't have one. So can't give
Here
it
we
to you,
are.
right? So then
Mhm.
I don't have to drain myself because I don't have it. So you can't get it from me. You
Mhm.
can try to stuff me dry, but I mean, I don't know what you're doing because I don't have it to give it to you because it's all
Yeah.
mine,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then the second thing is, it's
And that's
not
the
that
key
deep.
before you say the
Yeah,
second thing.
yeah,
It's all yours.
it's mine.
It's all yours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's mine.
Yeah.
And when I have extra, I'm generous. So if you're around, you will get it, right?
Yeah.
I give
Yeah.
it. I freely give. You
Yeah.
Yeah.
can't take from me. I give it. And if
Yeah.
you think you ever took something from me, no, sweetie, I gave it to
I
you.
gave it to
Yeah.
you. That's
Yeah,
right.
I let it
Ooh.
go. So you can never rob me. I
I
gave it
love
away.
that.
And that's the difference, right? And then, so yeah, number two is, it's
Mm.
not that deep. It's never that serious.
Mm.
Whenever you think you're so, it's never that serious.
Yeah.
It's not that deep.
Yeah.
Every single time, like I would obsess. And I remember I got this life lesson in dental school when I
Mm-hmm.
was failing, mind you, but
Oh,
I was at
true
dental
shame the
school.
devil. Okay.
And well, I mean, look at me now. So I mean,
Okay.
it's really shameful for that poor sleuthy idiot devil to think that he was going to do anything. And my professor, I was sitting with her because I failed her class,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm there crying, like, oh my gosh, I'm failing dental school, and she's like, Jane, I'm gonna tell you something that might hurt your feelings. She said, this is just dental school, it's not life. So what
Mm.
if you fail? Who cares? You're still gonna be successful. Maybe be a nutritionist. Maybe be a dancer, actor, cook. You're still gonna be successful. This is just dental school. It's not that deep. Calm down. Like, it's not that deep. You have talents. Okay,
Mm.
try something else. And I sat there like, first of all, how dare you? But second of all, I was like, and that moment is when I started to be curious about all the other things that Jade is.
Mm.
Because if I do fail at dental school, what would Jade do? And then I
Yeah.
got curious. And then my mind started wandering about, oh, should I be a lawyer?
Mm.
Mm.
Ooh, could I start a business? Ooh, could I be a
Mm.
teacher? Ooh, could I be this? And then all of a sudden I was like, yeah, and I'm going to be all of that and a dentist, right? And so
Wow.
then it just opened up a whole new world to me. And it ended up being not that serious, but it ended up being a serious thing because now I realize, oh, I don't have to limit myself.
Yeah.
Being a dentist isn't like the biggest
That's good.
accomplishment of my life, right? Like
Yeah.
it's the least of who I am. I will still be a success despite the failures that I experience. So it's never that serious. It's never that deep.
I love
Mm.
that. I love that.
Wow. Okay. So you're
Right?
snapping. Snap,
Right?
snap, snap,
And
snap,
yeah,
snap.
oh my gosh. And what about you,
Hmm.
Simone?
Two things that I would tell my younger self is one, invest, 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 invest,
Mm.
invest,
Okay.
invest early,
Yes.
and don't be afraid to do it. So unlike Jade, right? I know her dad
Mm-hmm.
has a slogan. He says, "Start, take a risk today." Me,
Mm-hmm.
I am not a risk taker at all. Like I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm always middle of the road. I always tread lightly. That's me, right? But if I could go back and tell my 18-year-old self,
Mm-hmm.
open an investment account, start investing in your Roth IRA, mutual funds, start buying stock, that's what
Mm-hmm.
I would do. So that's one
Oh,
thing I would do.
okay.
And the next thing I would tell my younger self is, I know you're ambitious,
Mm-hmm.
but um, you don't necessarily have to follow your dreams the way you think you do. So at a certain age, I have to be here. At a certain age, I have to be here. At a certain age, I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do that. And every time I kind of fell short of where I was,
Mm-hmm.
I felt guilty, like I was a horrible person and I was doing horrible in life, that I wasn't. I look around at my cousins and I'm not as far as that. I'm not as, so kind of releasing that perfectionism,
Mm.
that need to be perfect, and for
Yeah.
what? So that people could see and say you're great. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Nobody
Yeah.
So
cares.
that,
That's the
I would say,
thing.
release that. Release
Mm-hmm.
that.
That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Definitely release that. So those two
That's a
things for me.
good one.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that, y'all. I
I
mean,
love
that
it
that is
too.
really good. I think I would say I would have so many conversations with my younger self, but I think one of them would definitely be like, you don't have to be one thing. So very similar to what
Mm,
Jade was saying. You don't
yes.
have to be one thing, because it took me until now, until my late 30s and now in my 40s, to be like,
I
I'm
was
going
about
to
to
do this,
say it.
this, and this.
And
Yeah.
then your late 30s.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
good. You
Yeah.
fixed it. You fixed it.
that's when the light bulb went off. You know what, Jade? That's when the light bulb went off. That's what I'm saying.
Carried
You know what?
away. I'm like, what?
Like, wait a minute.
She's like, waiting for the
Sorry, go ahead.
ellipses. Dot, dot, dot. Okay, where's the rest?
Sorry. Yeah.
No, I feel like in my late 30s is when that light bulb went off, because that's when I quit teaching. And I felt
Mhm.
for a long time that like teaching was it.
Yes.
Like I didn't go to school wanting to be a teacher, but it felt easy and it felt safe. And I knew that I could do so many different things, that I felt like I can teach someone else so many different things. But I
Mhm.
think it was right around the pandemic, and I think the pandemic is a transitional time for a lot of people. But it
Mhm.
was right around that time that I was like, you know what? I'm teaching kids how to do all these different things because I can do all these different things. Why don't I just do all those different things? And
Mm.
I mean, and so far it has
Mm.
been going very well.
Good.
All the stuff that I was pouring into everybody else, supporting this teacher, supporting that teacher, supporting these kids and that kids, and I still support kids all day, but even taking myself out of giving everything that I had that was within me, like you said, take everything that I had within me to give to somebody else. Once I started taking all of that back, like I can do a lot. So
Sure
all of these
can.
different things that I'm like, that I'm now able to tap into, now that I have this space of like not having that burden or that heaviness of going to work, being someone's strong teacher, strong Black woman and all this kind of stuff. Now that I have that space again, I'm finding all of these things that I used to love that I'm actually good at. So had I
Nice.
been able to have that conversation with myself a long time ago, I mean, things happen as they do. So I'm glad that I'm
Yes.
here anyway. But I really wish that I could have been able at my young age, especially coming right out of college, to just be like, you can do anything. Don't
Yes.
play it safe.
Literally.
Literally.
So I
And
Yeah.
I
have a
think teaching
question.
was safe for a long time. Yeah.
I have a question for you, Nadine, because I
Yeah.
think this will help somebody.
Okay.
When you decided to quit
Hmm.
and to make that shift, what did that feel like? What was the feeling?
Freeing, but scary. So, of course, being a planner, I still had to plan for this shift, right? I wasn't that person who was like, all right, y'all, I'm out. I'm like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. You're going to do this and you're going to do that. I was teaching summer school, still getting the ends, right? Getting the savings together, making sure everything, was a certain way, so that way I could at least pay myself for 6 months. And the courthouse called, or somebody from the courthouse called and was like, hey, we have a new grant and we think you'd be perfect for it. You want to do it? So this goes back to Jade's comment about the scarcity
Yes.
mindset. Like there are no limits in how what you do. So to have a mindset that says, "Oh, I'm scared" for too long. Now you could be scared, right? Scared,
Yes.
having some fear is okay. It's still
Do it
healthy to have some.
afraid.
Yeah, some exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. But in that moment of me like trying to figure things out and piecing things together, what I needed came straight to me.
Mm-hmm.
And for the last 4 years, I've been on that same project. That same project. And I mean, I've had some tough days on that project.
Yeah.
And there's been some times where the invoice was late, but the
Oh
invoice still
Lord.
came.
Right. And I know those, and I remember
Okay.
those
Right.
posts, friend posts.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But then you know what? And in that time, because I was no longer dealing with the heaviness of having a regular 8 to 3, now I was able to start focusing on the Traveling Black Women Network and what that was going to
Yes.
look like and what my vision was for that. And as that
Snap it
started
up,
to
snap it
come
up.
and that started to grow and I started to learn this and that and try to, okay, what is being an entrepreneur like? What do I need to make this happen? And all these kind of things. Next thing you know, I'm applying for grants and getting them. Now I applied for a lot that I didn't get. Let me be honest about that. But so once again, not having that scarcity mindset, I'm winning now. Now I've got a little cash flow going on. Okay, now things are getting tough. I'm doing a whole lot by myself. Now I can hire some help. Hey, need a little bit of help over here. So many things just continue to unfold because there's this constant thread in the back of my mind that there is more than enough out here for me to succeed. There's more than enough within me to succeed. Yes. Every year I look up and I'm just like, wow, this network that I have poured all my heart and blood, sweat, and tears in feels amazing. And it is exactly like how I taught. I got all these different pieces, right? Because teaching special ed, every lesson plan was like, what do I need for old boy who's not going to sit down? Right. What do I need for old girl who's drawing every day? What do I need for, this one who want to talk my ear off? What do I need for from one lesson, right? From one concept, whatever it is that I'm teaching about, because I taught social studies, whatever it is that I'm teaching about, what do I need for all these kids? So that way I could have a peaceful classroom, because y'all ain't about to fight each other in here.
Okay,
but,
no.
But two, to make sure that you're actually learning. Like when you come into my classroom, in my space, you're actually leaving with something, even if it's just learning about yourself, learning about the world, whatever it is. Yeah. And the Traveling Black Women network actually works the same way, because with all the different pieces that I have, it's just like, what do I need for the people that read? What do I need for the people who are going to talk? What do I need for the people who just want to sit here and listen? What do I need for all these people? And so far, so good.
I still reckon, I'm so proud of you, Nadine. I'm proud of you.
Extremely.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. Jade, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
We're
I
proud
love
of
you
you too,
guys.
Simone.
You guys
Yes,
are
and we are proud of you too.
Exactly.
Awesome. So,
Exactly.
really proud
We are
of you,
like
ladies.
a true friggin' superstar family of just people who, we've achieved, but I don't think most people know we've achieved in spite of. Right? I think a lot of people see the glitz, the glamour, right? But I had asked you that question because there's something important in the thread of everything that you said, and everything that I really believe is that a lot of people feel stuck in their careers, and they feel stuck and they have to do this, and that's why they always do one thing. They think that that's what it is. But the skills that you take to do your job, it's transferable.
Yes.
Meaning that the reason you chose your profession isn't because that's all that you can do. It's because you wanted to do that stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that stuff could be done in something else. So when I talk to people who feel stuck, and when I was working with myself, I said, well, what else can I do what I love to do? What other professions could I do that in? Right? And I realized the things that I love to do is to help people.
Yes.
I could help people as a lawyer. Went to law school. I could help people as a business person. Did that. I could help companies market their stuff. Got a marketing degree. I could help people create their curriculum. Did that. Right? I could help people look better. Went and studied makeup. So there's so many things. So you can do anything, any profession, and still get that feeling of satisfaction with the skills or the things that you want to do and how you want to impact the world.
Yes.
So really and truly, you lose nothing quitting your job. I'm not saying to quit your job, but you lose nothing pivoting. You lose nothing. It doesn't change you. There's nothing new you need to learn. There's no new skill you need to develop. You get to do the same thing, but in a different way,
capacity.
in a different place, in a different capacity.
Yes.
So you still be you. You're not changing who you are. That's why you can do multiple things. And it doesn't, like people say, oh, it's because you have ADHD. Yeah, I do. But
you need it.
To,
so,
I don't have to switch.
I love
but
it.
I don't have to switch my brain when I switch myself into different modes. I don't switch my brain because I use the same skills in every single arena of myself. And that is what people limit themselves when they don't try to figure out what else they can do.
Is there?
What makes you a multi-hyphenate? Like, what are the other things? What else is Jade? Jade is a dentist, but what else are you? Well, I'm kind, so that means I'm a giver. Well, what else are you? You know what? I'm a teacher. Well, what else are you? I'm an entrepreneur, but what else are you? And then when you start to think of the different things that you're interested in, you can realize there's a whole list of things that you can do, that you're not limited with LinkedIn and Indeed.com to try to figure out how you're going to pay your bills. Just saying.
Absolutely.
Take a risk today.
Yeah.
Tart.
Yeah.
Get a tart.
Tart.
Get a tart.
Yeah.
I gotta write that one down too.
Get a tart.
Tart.
That's Uncle
Take a risk
Vivian. Get a
today.
tart.
Yeah. And it's trademarked, so don't try it. Don't try
Yeah,
it. It's
sure.
trademarked. Okay.
That is
Don't try
trademark.
it. It is. And is. And is.
Oh, gosh.
So don't try it.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, but you know,
Yeah.
I like what you said, right? Because even when I think about my own scope and the things that I do, so in the school psychologist, you know, a lot of my job is just counseling students, you know. But I found that when I opened my beauty consultant business, right, and I do sister locks, I got clients boohooing in my chair. I'm like, well, what is so special about me? I'm not really doing anything. Listening to them, counseling them. They've been babies born. There've been children conceived in my chair. There's been babies born in my chair. There's been marriages in my chair. I mean, and I'm just like, but I'm not doing anything. There you go. So exactly what you just described, right? You can be different things at different capacities at different times because you're awesome.
Yeah.
So I thank God for giving me the grace to be able to kind of like pivot and use the transferable skills, right? In every scope of my life. So
imagine that, because I'm sure people sit in your chair and they just feel like, oh, just that energy, like I can release here, I can be comfortable.
Yes,
and then
it's a safe space.
Yeah.
Like a little about my finances. So many women have gotten financial freedom in my chair. Like a lot of things happen in my chair.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. That's something. That's something.
It is. It's something to think about, for real. You know, so many of us really are suffering because we think, well, who am I if I'm not a dentist? Who am I if I'm not a teacher? Who am I if I'm not a physician? What do I do? What value do I have to do? Do I have to start over? Like, who am I if I'm a stay-at-home mom? Like, what value am I bringing? Like, we make ourselves, like, become, like, one with whatever we do. And we mix up what we do with who we are. You know, and I was that, and I struggled with that, and I still have moments of struggling with that, where I feel a lot of anxiety every time I make a shift, right? But I realized for me, and that's one thing that I hear when Nadine was talking about her shift, is that things work out. They're gonna work out. And then for me, whenever I start to feel anxiety, I said, okay, well, what if? Okay, what if this doesn't happen? What happens then? Okay, and if I lose my job. What if you lose your job? Okay, well, I don't have a job anymore. Okay, and what if you have no job anymore? I apply for a new one. What if you apply for a new one? Maybe I get it. What if I get a new job? Maybe I like it. What if you like a new job? Maybe I keep doing it. What if you keep doing it? I get a promotion. I make more money, right? Like, if you keep doing what ifs and you keep the positive
and the
sides
positive
of the possibilities,
yes,
you're like, and even if you go the negative route, it could always come back to a positive route. You play it out in your mind, right? Because what people fear is the unknown. So you make that unknown known. You go through that process of the possibilities, and you realize things going to work out. And if you believe that, they work out. They really do.
Yeah, it's a matter of shifting it to, what if it does work? What if it does work out? You know?
What if it does?
Yeah, you happy. Right. You make a shift, and you may glow back up.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
It is.
Oh, the possibilities.
All the possibilities.
The possibilities.
And looking at it as the positive. I love that. Because we're so often thinking, what if it doesn't work out? But what if it does?
What if
it does?
Inspiration.
So hopeful, right?
Yes.
I cannot wait. I can't wait to see what happens in my life as it unfolds. I sit here and I'm just so like, I'm anxious, but I'm excited, right? Because I don't have limits on whatever. I just like Nadine, she got a phone call. I'm waiting for my phone call to find what I'm about to do next. I don't know who's about to call, but I believe somebody's talking about me in a room somewhere about that they need that for Jade. You know, so I just believe that. I just believe it. Somebody's about to call me with an offer that's about to blow my mind.
And listen to you two talk about your consulting work and your consultancy business. I'm gonna start mine in 2025. Look out for my consultancy business.
Listen,
yes,
I'm here for it.
Like y'all when I grow up. Okay.
All right.
I love it. I love it.
You registered right away. Don't play games.
Yep. That's it. That's it. I love it. Y'all, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for being willing to come and just talk about your journeys, inspire women, because I feel like I'm inspired on this call.
Yes.
And I know that there are several people who are going to listen and they're going to connect with each of us individually, collectively, whatever, but connect in a way that's like, okay, I can make this happen. Everything is created by us. Everything in our lives are created based on how we move through it. We're thinking that things won't work, they'll never work.
Yeah.
But actually being able to sit and say, you know what? Let me dig into myself. Let me look around and see what's going on.
Yes.
And let me really start to create a life for myself that's not singular, that don't have me looking crazy, that don't have me feeling like I don't have enough and I can't and I'm stuck, but a life that really feels good. And like we said earlier, you know, maybe work-life balance is not completely possible, but prioritizing what feels good is, you know, and I think that matters.
I'm inspired.
You guys are amazing.
I'm inspired.
I am.
And
I'm about
you know,
to send in my letter of resignation. I'm just like, I'm about to quit.
I was going to say, and we're the created, right? We all believe in God. And God, if God is the ultimate creator, we have to believe in the God in us that allows us to create.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So it's just a matter of making space for it.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. All right, ladies. Well, I'm going to wrap it here. But if there's any lasting thoughts or advice that you have, I mean, I feel like we've given so much advice, so much inspiration, but anything else you want to add?
One thing.
Just on the, go ahead, Simone.
Yeah. I was gonna say, if you're nervous about doing something, if you have reservations, just do it afraid.
Yes.
Do it afraid.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
And just back on that creation note and that creator note, if you really believe in creation and how that happened, all you need to create is nothing. It was a vast nothingness. You need nothing. You just need to start.
So the space gave you the room to create. The space gave you the room to create.
So, because then, and it creates a limitless possibility, right?
Yeah.
So you don't need anything. Like you just need literally just to start one spark, just one thing, and just create anything. There's no rules. Just create. No rules. That's the only thing. That's how you get started. How do you do it? You just do. Like Simone said, do it afraid. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. That's it.
Man. I mean, I'm a perfect example because if y'all see, and it's on my Instagram, with a 2015 book of Diary of a Traveling Black Woman, what the cover of that book look like versus what the cover of it looks like now. Well, you saw it in the social club. You saw it. I put the. I was struggling, y'all, but I was like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it.
And it made a difference, and it launched everything for you.
That was 10 years ago, and here we are on a podcast. 10 years.
Awesome. I'm encouraged. All right, y'all.
Watch out, world. Okay. Watch out. Y'all better Google. Okay. This is a privilege now that you get to see us here. Okay.
Right.
You are so silly. Well, thank you, ladies, again. You've been wonderful.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Yeah.
No problem. All right, y'all. Well, thank you again for tuning in. Thank you for tuning into the Traveling Black Women podcast. This has been a great conversation, and hopefully you've been able to take away some gems, something that's going to inspire you to just really glow up and change your life and travel.
Yes, travel.
Definitely travel. All right. Thanks again.
Bye. Do a nice little commercial. So, guys, I tried this new lip color. It's Bixa Beauty. The color is Merlot Red. And it's lovely. Like, it's the first matte lipstick that I've worn where it doesn't feel like I'm wearing lipstick. Look at this. It is so light. So cute.
Dry and like
no, not
and
crusty.
It's so pretty.
Thank you. My lips don't feel crusty. I don't get that, kind of like little beads that show up on your lips sometime when you talk for a long time. I've been talking for almost 2 hours and I feel like I have nothing on my lips. So Bixa Beauty, Merlot Red. It's great.
Well, she has the natural products, right? The Ruku, right?
She does.
Saw the Ruku tree in Tanzania.
Yes.